Jewelry for a cause.
Brass from brass shell casings that are swept from the streets.
Crafted from the hardware of violent crime.
I sat there learning for the first time what was really happening in America's inner cities.
One meeting with Newark Mayor Cory Booker and Jessica Mindich knew she wanted to raise the bar for her nonprofit jewelry company, and the Raise the Caliber initiative was born. First, her company funded 2 gun buybacks.
When we held the second buyback in Newark, and I really saw the impact of how many guns we were able to take off the street, and I saw that we could really, really make an impact.
And she wanted to bring the worlds of food, fashion, and art into the fold. Enter Michael Kalish, a Los Angeles-based artist who's renowned for his work with ordinary objects.
But all along I had this idea about somehow making a statement about illegal guns.
Kalish shared his big idea with Jessica.
He got the message so clearly that I knew that he was the right person to bring a dream of mine to reality.
Early this year, Kalish received a delivery from Newark.
It was a pretty profound moment when all these thousands of pounds of gun parts were dropped off in my studio. We dumped them out because these things kill people.
Working with a team of engineers and fabricators,
I don't know if we even need to go in and start carving it off.
Kalish spent the next 6 months crafting the monument. 2 interlocking hands covered by metal parts from illegal firearms.
It is thousands of illegal guns. It will wind up being over 4 tons of steel and guns welded on this frame. It's my job, it's my duty as an artist to build that bridge. I'm not making a statement against guns. I'm making a statement against illegal guns.
Jessica was the driving force behind choosing Hartford as the monument's inaugural site.
This city is small in numbers of population, but experiences a disproportionate amount of illegal gun violence.
The 3-story structure was shipped to the capital city this week. And as Kalish assembles and finishes the piece right in Bushnell Park, he's leaving space for more illegal guns to be added.
So it becomes this living and breathing thing, if you will, a billboard for raising awareness for this discussion, this topic, this issue.
The monument will be unveiled Wednesday afternoon and will stand in the park through next spring when it moves to Detroit.
We hope that, like a good snowball rolling down a hill, it's going to get bigger and faster as we go.
Raising the caliber of each community it touches.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the mayor of our great capital city, Mayor Pedro E. Segarra.
Thank you, and good afternoon. It's a beautiful day out in the city of Hartford. I want to thank everyone for taking the time to join us in this special day for our city of Hartford. Before I begin, I want to draw your attention to that little red truck over there. It's the Get Toasted truck. So if you haven't had anything to eat, that is a great place to stop. They are one of the partners in this effort of Raise the Caliber. I want to also give a special welcome, a very special Hartford welcome to First Select Woman Pat Lodra, of Newtown, who is here with us today. She has been an incredible inspiration for all of those who are mayors and have to leave their towns. Today, I also want to make some special welcomes of our president of our city council, Sean Wooden, who's here with us today, Councilman Larry Deutsch, who are here representing council. We have our state representatives, Vargas, State Representative Arce, and State Representative Ritter, who are here with us today. Thank you for your hard work. And we have our new superintendent, Beth Schiavano Narvaez, who is here with us today, and also want to welcome everyone. Too many to mention. I feel like we're a small family here, and I know that we've been very supportive of each other during some very difficult times. The City of Hartford has been selected as the launch site for Raise the Caliber. It is a national advocacy campaign to end illegal gun violence. And central to this campaign will be the unveiling of a public art installation that you will all see today. The founder, Jessica Mindich, is one of the most passionate and driven people that I have ever come across. When I met her about a year ago, and I know in minutes, I knew in minutes that she was the sort of person that really says what she's going to do and gets done what she says she's going to do. And she mentioned that gun violence is a shared responsibility that we all have. And we all have a shared responsibility to do the healing work that needs to be done with regards to this issue. And I think that this day is very proof of her commitment to that idea. So I want to thank you, Jessica, for all that you have done to make sure that this day came to reality. So why Hartford? Why did I agree to have this happen here in our capital city? And the reason for that is that illegal gun violence has taken way too many lives, ripping too many families apart. But it is not something that we simply have to accept. And here in the city of Hartford, we have chosen not to accept it. The safety of our families has been the single most important priority that I've had during my tenure as mayor since day one. And it is both a deeply personal and a professional issue for me. One of the first things I did as mayor was to establish the shooting task force, meaning that we put resources into targeting the most violent offenders. And the reason why that is that it was a very small number of individuals who would grab the headlines and alter the perception of our great city. I also selected a police chief who puts community policing first, because as he has said many times, we cannot arrest our way out of the gun situation. He has worked hard to not only enforce our laws, but make sure that we continue on the path of reducing recidivism and creating more opportunities for young people. On that, I want to acknowledge a very special group that's here with us today. I think the students from the Law and Government Academy are here today. Could you please stand? When we talk about community policing, my aspirations and the hopes of our community is that you're looking at the next set of police officers, firefighters, and public safety professionals in our city. Thank you, and thank you for doing what you need to do to stay in school and make sure that you really fulfill our promise of you being our future leaders. So while we are here today to receive a gift and kick off a campaign that I hope each and every one of you are a part of, the other major news is that the community in Hartford has shown that we're simply fed up. We are fed up with the crime in our neighborhoods, and the community has said that it is willing to be a partner in keeping our families safe. This artwork is a reminder of the lives lost, but it should also serve as a reminder that our city is making progress in order to prevent crime. To continue the progress we've made requires all of us working together. I want to mark this day to be a lasting day of sustainable change in our community. I want you to remember this day, September 3rd, 2014, as the day where we commemorated our progress and honored the fact that what we are doing in building relationships is working. I want to thank every single person that's here today. I want to thank all the people that are here on the stage, Mr. Governor, Lieutenant Governor, our artist, Michael Kalish, everyone that's here, our chief, Congressman Larson, Senator Murphy, Senator Blumenthal, our esteemed governor. Thanks to all of you, you have made our city a great place to live, to work, and to play. And I want to thank our community members that are also here. This is not just about policing, this is about a joint effort of all of us joining hands as one community to keep our people safe. So I want to introduce the next speaker, and that is our Hartford Police Chief, James Rovella. He is a colleague, he is someone that's a good partner in keeping our city safe.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Bushnell Park. It's a great event here. But one might think it's a solemn occasion. I propose this is just another chapter in altering a health epidemic caused by gun violence. You know, I'd like to thank the mayor and the city council for their gun back endeavors with us, and our faith-based initiative, and our ministers and all our reverends that are just part of the one strong kind of appeal we're proposing. I'd like to thank the governor and the Hartford delegation for the strongest gun laws in the nation and his urban initiatives, unprecedented coordinated assistance from states' agencies such as CSP, Department of Corrections, parole, probation. That's very important to us. That's removing all those silos in police work and making everybody come together and exchange information. You know, our federal partners have been very, very good to the city of Hartford, and I would like to acknowledge them. And the broad range of participants that have been with us. You know, the Hartford Law and Government, they actually several of them spent summertime with us at the police department, learning different techniques, learning about what we do and how we do it. They're a great bunch of kids. But moving where the rubber hits the road, the real work is accomplished there. I'd like to acknowledge our member community partners. Our vibrant community policing plan, it's hugely important to the city and to our efforts in lowering our violence numbers, either in our persons shot or our aggravated assaults or even our homicides. They've done a great job. Mothers Against Violence and the reverends that support them, obviously they have a very, very, they're very close to my heart, and I can't express enough sympathy towards them and tell them that we're going to make a difference. And I thank the Chief State's Attorney's Office for the big cold case initiative. It's just, it's everything we want to happen in our city. And lastly, as we draw towards the unveiling, the message I deliver to Project Longevity folks, and those are our most at risk, either participants in gun violence or are most likely to be victims of crimes. And I talk with them quite a bit, and I enjoy that one-to-one conversation I have with them. But I leave them with a resounding message, and that message always resounds about stop the violence. It's very simple for us, stop the violence. And now we're talking about stopping the gun violence. So I thank everybody for coming today. I can't wait to see what it looks like, and it has special meaning to a lot of families in our city, and I can't wait to see it. So thank you. Okay.
Before I introduce the next speaker, I want to acknowledge a few individuals that are here. Some may not be here, but nonetheless, we do appreciate and support and acknowledge the work that they have done in ending violence in our community, and that's the Reverend Henry Brown, who has worked very hard to bring peace in our community, Pastor Sam Saylor, and the members of Mothers United Against Violence. As I said before, we're not going to move past this if we don't work together, and I know that all of you have lost someone close to you. Reverend Stephen W. Kemp is also someone who has really been in the forefront of this issue. But I want to introduce our next speaker. She's an associate minister. She is a person who, like myself, has lost a member of her family to gun violence, and that is Deborah Davis, who is an associate minister.
Good afternoon. And on behalf of all of our mothers and our fathers and our sisters and our brothers and our families, I stand here today to let you know that we are grieving and mourning every day because of the loss of our loved ones. Today, my son would have been 25 years old. And I want to say a special happy birthday to you, Philip. And happy birthday to you in heaven. But our job now here on earth goes a little bit further. We have to be vigilant in the city of Hartford. We have to stand guard and stand armed on behalf of our families and our children. And to our children that we have to protect. We have to become citizens to protect their lives and to protect their rights. Because they have a right to grow up and they have a right to live. I want them to start to say, see something, say something. Don't look the other way. Understand that they have a responsibility as well. And this is something that we can start teaching at home and at the schools, which is so important. This is not about me or any of our dignitaries or any of you that sit there. It's about all of us as one, a collaborative effort. This is a partnership, raising awareness to stop gun violence. To stop gun violence in every walk of life. Schools, theaters, malls, everywhere we go, we are faced with that word, gun violence. And on a year-to-year basis, the statistics are alarming. We are losing so many individuals more to suicide by guns. We're losing them in homicide by guns, by the thousands. And now it is time for us to really stand up. We appreciate the city of Hartford, on behalf of the city of Hartford, and we appreciate our artists and the work that she's doing. The work in our urban city is just as important. We have to keep our feet on the street. We have to keep ourselves in every place you go. We have to stay alert. And not just walk by and say, it's not me. Yes, it was me one day. And it could be any person out there another day. And I'm sure from where I'm standing that if you don't know someone that has been impacted by gun violence, I am certain that someone that's sitting next to you have either had a person in their family impacted by gun violence or they know someone. I am so certain of that. This happens everywhere. Let's take care of our streets. Be more vigilant. Parents, do your responsibility. Do what you have to do. Help save our community, the city of Hartford. Thank you.
Our next speakers have worked tirelessly on behalf of our state, on our cities, and of our nation. They have been ardent and very vocal supporters of the city of Hartford and have stood side by side in taking clear positions with regards to illegal guns. I want to introduce U.S. Senator Blumenthal, U.S. Senator Murphy, and Congressman John Larson to lead us in a moment of silence.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you for your incredible service to this great community. I commend you and the members of the City Council for your hard work. Jessica, let us thank you for the effort that exists here, the persistency amongst the people in the state of Connecticut and all across our great nation. I'm honored to be joined by my two colleagues who are incredibly courageous on the floor of the United States Senate and to continue to persist making sure that we end this senseless violence. But there's nobody on this stage that deserves more credit than the governor of the state of Connecticut. So we're honored to join with him and Lieutenant Governor Nancy Wyman in this moment of silence. Senator Murphy.
Thank you, Congressman Larson. Harriet Beecher Stowe was born here in Hartford, or born in Litchfield, died here in Hartford, and she is best known for producing a work of art that helped change the world. Uncle Tom's Cabin gave rise to the abolitionist movement, which eventually led us to purge slavery from our nation's shores, fields, states, and borders. And so it speaks to the power of art to change minds. It speaks to the power of art to move debate. So that's why we're so pleased to have this work of art with us today. Now, Michael, I know that you would be very pleased if after the unveiling, 90% of the people who looked at this sculpture thought it was beautiful, thought it was wonderful, agreed with your genius. That would be a great rate of return for a piece of art. But that's what we're dealing with in Washington, D.C. today. 90% of Americans want a change in gun laws in this nation. 90% of Americans want to make sure that illegal guns do not flow onto our streets by guaranteeing that everyone who purchases a gun should go through a background check. 90% of Americans think that illegal gun trafficking should be a federal crime. And yet, democracy is so broken that 90% of Americans can't get what they want. Maybe a beautiful piece of art won't be the straw that breaks the camel's back, but gatherings like this, where we recommit ourselves to the idea that through any means possible, political action, civic action, or cultural action, that we will get this job done, gets us a little bit closer to that day when the streets of Hartford are truly as safe as they can be. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you to Jessica. Thank you to Michael for choosing Hartford in order to display this great work. Thank you to everybody in the audience for doing what you will continue to do to make sure that the challenge presented by this day becomes a reality, not just in Hartford, but in Washington, D.C. as well.
We are about to see 3,000 pounds of metal, cold metal, transformed into something of beauty that will help us recommit our lives to save other people. Something very human as a purpose of something cold, metallic, almost icy, evoking emotions for people who will never see these beautiful days, who will never enjoy this sunlight, who will never see this park. I'm about to read their names, people who have perished because of senseless, needless gun violence. Every day I ride by that firehouse in Newtown, where I was the day that those 20 beautiful children, 6th grade educators, perished so needlessly. I am reminded of the need to recommit ourselves. Every day I am with victims and survivors of gun violence. I am inspired to continue this fight. We cannot give up. We cannot surrender. We must follow the example of those survivors and victims' families who have demonstrated the courage and strength day after day after day, visiting us in Washington in the course of fighting for gun violence prevention and carrying on with their lives as they do every day in Hartford and around the country. Literally tens of thousands of innocent lives lost every day and every year. I want to thank Michael Kalish for this work of beauty and inspiration. I want to thank Jessica Mindich a native of the Hartford area whose parents, Elliot and Eileen Pollock, may be here today, for her determination to make something good come of evil, to make this idea a reality, and to make sure that we never forget people like Mark McNichol, Brian Williston, Adore Daniels, Leslie Vasquez, Tyron Taylor, Huberto O'Neill, Jose Torres, Tyshawn Crawford, Dion Palmer, 9 victims of gun violence in the city of Hartford already in 2014. Please join me in a moment of silence for everyone, everywhere, who has lost a loved one to gun violence here in Hartford and around our great nation. Thank you.
I want to introduce our next speaker, who is a performer, a poet, he's also an MC, an educator and activist from Richmond, California. Dante Clark is a poet laureate who wears many hats, working very hard in his community and across the nation, teaching poetry and theater workshops to low-income youth in his community, and coaching his students to find their voices through performance and publication. Please help me in welcoming Poet Laureate Dante Clark.
Hello, thank you for having me. Gun violence is a very sensitive topic, and I decided to write down how I have been impacted personally by this experience. And I ask that you bear with me, please. Chest tighten, I feel the shortage in my breath. Stressing I'm fighting time just a blink away from death. Pressures of writing rhymes till it leads to self-respect or resort to a life of crime, cause y'all view me as a threat. Oh Lord, let me guess, there's a lesson in the struggle. I muscle my train of thought, cause a failure mind is soft. Knees bent, clenched fists, submit to this righteous talk. Keep seeking not to be lost, but I'm feeling them shots go off. Oh Lord, is it worth it, is it worth it? How could I value life if I feel there is no purpose? I'm feeling like a clown, just a puppet in this circus. Wanna let my feelings out, but I'm afraid for them to surface. Can I vent, may I vent? All of my money spent, gotta eat, where to sleep, gas, car note in the rent. Not a coin, not a cent, from a stack of presidents who patch a feel this hole in my heart from resent that I have toward them others that snatched away my brothers. Got them smacked before that, I ain't get to tell them I love them. All of these RIPs, free my G's from the thuggin'. Slice me a piece of mind, I'll be fine. Hearing nothing, let me free, let me free. Let the past stay behind. I feel the cripples of the ghettos all depending on my spine. For the wretches of the earth, looking forward to my climb. But my dreams all depends on the trigger of his 9. It's probably not hard living. I could imagine what that's like, but my plight just existing. Holes open my souls, these tinnies, I've traveled many. The devil come with your Benjis, may the Lord bless these pennies. Let me breathe, let me breathe. Don't wanna live a life that this world project on me, no. Let me breathe, let me breathe. Don't nobody value breathe until God asks us to leave, huh? There's blood on our hands. For those of us who can't see past our first 2 decades in 1+ year, whose hearts are blunt wrapped in grape swisher sweets laced with gunpowder thoughts that move to the baseline patterns of 100-round drums. Deep center, rib cage disguised the furnace. Where I'm from, Breathing black smoke and hanging corpses, how we get through the fire. Swallowing pride, fewer times in vodka bottles and pizza rock. We take shots, back to back to back into the blacks of blacks until most of our lives are wasted. Do you see the connection? It bothers me that we can't see past the weeping of liquid tears and gnashing of teeth. To imagine the flutter of grace with golden streets beneath splintered feet, it is faith. To believe that the wings of our dreams are made for soaring. With the blow of wind from God's lips, we'll be placed higher than sunrise. But you see, we're suns set on chasing shadows. Ligaments folded from thrusts of metal slipping beneath pavement cracks. Have you ever heard the sound of 12 gauges crack through blue skies? Because I know people who shoot. Clenched triggers with callous hands, turning soil-skinned men into sinkhole. I live amongst the wounded, scattered across the streets like loose chains. I've seen movements lose change at the fingertips. Barrel lit, spit kisses from death from them boys in blue that look just like you. Yes, you. Don't shoot with brute force or by sport. There is a tug of war for the right to claim my life day and night. I fight against my own kind. It be my own mind too. Yes, there are too many guns in the hands of those with the intent to kill. And these people can't always be registered. But these guns, I'd rather see them melted into handshakes, praying that one day this can be real, pushing for all of us to put down our weapons, remove Smith & Wesson from our thought, and raise the caliber. America, let's raise the caliber. Thank you.
Well, thank you for helping us to raise that caliber. Before I introduce the next speaker, I just want to give a shout out to DPW for working so hard to keep our parks in the shape that they're in. We've seen significant improvements in our parks. This is the playground for our families, so thank you. I want to thank Mecca, and I also want to thank the Whiffenpoofs from Yale. Thank you. I was trying to figure out a Spanish word for Whiffenpoofs in Spanish, but I have to work at it. The next person I'm about to introduce is probably the strongest allies that Connecticut mayors and First Select folks in the community have had in terms of waging this battle against illegal guns and violence in our state. So far, our city, with his assistance and his commitment to supporting us in almost everything that we do, if not beyond, to reduce gun violence in our city. He has been a passionate, vocal leader who has spoken with the truth and with honesty, but with passion and truth on his side. Alongside of him are very esteemed, and I'm talking about our Governor, Donald Malloy, and our esteemed Lieutenant Governor, Nancy Wyman.
Thank you, Mayor. It is just my luck to have to follow gifted orator who rhymes. Thank you very much for that presentation so powerfully delivered to us today. To all that stand or sit behind me and to all that sit in front of me, thank you for your dedication to this issue. I appreciate it very, very much. My wife, Kathy, is around here somewhere. I appreciate her support and all that I've tried to do as governor, and certainly appreciate her support on behalf of the arts in the area. Mayor, thank you for your leadership on this and so many other issues, as well as members of the City Council. Pat, who was here, may have moved it back out of the sun. Pat Lodra from Newtown, who I've worked with and spent some very difficult hours with. I want to thank her for her great authority that she brings to this issue. In 2013, we passed a gun bill that bans the sale and possession of assault weapons and large capacity magazines, requires a clean record, requires safety training and a permit to buy rifles, shotguns, and ammunition, whether it is from a gun store or in a private sale. The state law requires background checks and training for the purchase of all categories of guns. Additionally, convicted felons caught with ammunition now face the same penalty as they would if they were caught with a firearm. And of course, this bill also increases funding for mental health treatment and for school security. We use as a base year, not 2012 because of the terrible things that happened on that December morning, but we use 2011 as a base year from which we measure progress being made. In 2011, there were 129 murders in the state of Connecticut. 81 of those occurred in 3 cities, one of which we sit in on this very sunny and beautiful day, the others being New Haven and Bridgeport. Since the time that we came together to fight crime through a bill, through new initiatives which the chief has spoken to, and other initiatives such as Project Longevity, which concentrate our attention on those folks that we know are most likely to commit homicides and violent offenses in our cities. We've made real progress. Overall, we have from that base year decreased homicides by 32%. In the 3 communities of which I just spoke, we've reduced it 31%, and we've reduced shootings overall by an even greater percentage than existed before. Perhaps that reminds us of how dangerous weapons are and are becoming each day. So I want to say that Connecticut is humbled and honored to be the inaugural host for this outstanding sculpture. In the past few years, our state has been forced to respond to one of the most unthinkable acts of violence, in addition to gang-related and domestic and other forms of violence which play out in all of our communities. What sets us apart is this. Where Washington and other states have failed, Connecticut has led the way with a bipartisan approach to address issues of gun violence reduction, school security, and access to mental health care. As governor, I'm proud of that. Like so many other areas of endeavor, we know what works. We know our streets will be safer if we commit to finding programs that provide our youth with after-school programs, essential drug and alcohol prevention, crisis intervention, and gang intervention. With initiatives like Project Longevity and those that the chief has mentioned, we are making real progress. With the passage of legislation that cannot be passed in other states or on a national level, we are making real progress. Because of the strength of mothers, one of whom we heard from today, and clergy and community leaders throughout our state, but most particularly in the 3 cities most challenged, we're making progress. Since signing the gun bill in April of 2013, our police officers have made 176 arrests for illegal possession of assault weapons. 1,368 pistol permits were revoked for reasons including drunk driving, mental health commitments, restraining and protective orders in domestic violence cases. And 48 people who tried to buy rifles or shotguns were denied when background checks turned up violations, including recently issued domestic orders. We are here to dedicate for a time as it remains in our community the artwork and the commitment of a great artist and a great leader with roots here in Hartford. Let our gazing upon this object, made from the weapons of massive personal destruction. As we gaze upon it, let us think of all that we can do and remains to be done in support of our police and our first responders, and reminding our young people that life is too valuable to give away or to take away. And when we get to December and prepare for this piece of art to leave us and go to other cities, let us hope that they find the resolve to do that which we have done in our city and in our state. To all of you responsible, thank you very much.
I just want to have our Lieutenant Governor, a woman of courage, woman of great compassion, to come up for a minute. Thank you so much.
Thank you very, very much. And talking about following an order, I'm not going to follow the governor except to say thank you to all of you, to the artists, to all of you for bringing this here. I believe that when people see these two hands joined, they'll realize that all of us have to work together to making sure that we will eradicate all of gun violence. So thank you for your leadership. And I know that you did it because of your own children. May they stay safe, and may all of the children of our state and our nation stay safe. Thank you.
I want to introduce a woman who I described earlier as a woman of incredible vision and courage, who has really stepped up to the plate in terms of making sure that we all get the message that this is a collective responsibility, that this is something that we all need to work on and address together. And her medium of initiating this effort through the arts is one of great promise. I just don't know what to say and how to express, as mayor and on behalf of our city, the great gratitude that we have for the unselfish devotion that you have demonstrated during the past year that we have known each other. So thank you, Miss Jessica Mindich.
Welcome to my field of dreams. Thank you all for coming. I am, quite simply, overwhelmed. I stand before you as a wife, mother, lawyer, jewelry designer, and a dreamer. And today, some of my wildest dreams have come true. However, sadly, very few of the people I aim to help can make that same claim. For 3 years, I have been on a journey through the toughest neighborhoods in America and seen the most disheartening manifestations of human nature. Amazingly, there are children who do not know their futures are bright, who do not go to sleep feeling safe, who do not have role models, and most devastatingly, do not have hope. However, I have also had the privilege of meeting incredible men and women who do believe this devastating reality can be changed. From first responders, moms from the south side of Chicago, passionate and smart elected officials, Hollywood elite, talented urban artists like Dante, and children who, against all odds, do believe. One of these special people joins us here today. We call him the Caliber Kid. After witnessing a triple homicide while taking out the trash on Christmas Day, he applied to and was accepted on his own merit to a private school outside of his bullet-riddled neighborhood. The Caliber Foundation was able to provide him with the financial ability to fulfill his dream. I am enormously proud to share today with Keon and his family. Through my work, I have financed the first 2 privately funded gun buyback and amnesty programs in Newark, New Jersey's history. But this was never about me or Jewelry for a Cause. This was about being part of a team, a public-private partnership, aiding an existing comprehensive public safety approach to dealing with illegal guns. I was raised in this city by my parents, Eileen and Elliot Pollock, who have devoted their personal and professional lives here for almost 50 years. One of the very clear messages they sent my sister and me comes from the Hebrew phrase tikkun olam, which translates into humanity's shared responsibility to heal, repair, and transform the world. I take this responsibility very seriously. However, after giving everything I knew how to give and seeing how much more there was that could be done, I knew I needed more help. Amazingly, I simply asked, and the best of the best in each of their fields said yes. The Raise the Caliber team now includes Joseph Jupe, Joe Jupe is one of the foremost furniture designers in the world. His designs fill the homes of Bill Gates, Michael Bloomberg, the palaces of Saudi princes, and now he has created a Raise the Caliber lighting collection to help fund our work. Amy Smilovic, who couldn't be here today, she's the founder and designer of the international fashion house Tibby. She's currently at New York Fashion Week preparing her leggy models to walk the runway in the first of the Raise the Caliber by Tibby designs. Deborah Raviv, the president of Get It Toasted, has rebranded her delicious food to include even a Raise the Caliber sandwich and bottled water to raise money for the Caliber Foundation. And of course, Michael Kalish, an internationally renowned artist who has gifted us with the incredible Raise the Caliber tribute monument you'll soon have the privilege of seeing. But determining where the Caliber Foundation money is spent is as important as raising it. Along with Mayor Segarra and Police Chief Ravella in Hartford, I'm thrilled to have as Raise the Caliber National Team Advisors, Charles Grady. Charlie's the acting head of Project Longevity and a former federal task force agent in the state of Connecticut. And Mike Brueggemann. Where are you? In from Detroit, he's the Senior Vice President of Security for Rock Ventures, a Detroit-based company with close to 13,000 employees. Mike and his team has worked with the Detroit Police Department to reduce nonviolent crime in the city by 30% in just the past year. Now, to the man we honor today. It was clear from our initial meeting that Michael's passion for this project was boundless. I tried to warn him off several times. He seemed so innocent, so LA optimistic. Nope. I told him this work would change his life forever. He could not be deterred. So I shipped him 2,000 pounds of shredded illegal and unwanted guns I have been privileged to buy off the streets of the 6th most dangerous city in America. There were Uzis, sniper rifles, Glocks, AK-47s, and pistols. I worried that I would scar him with the angry energy and the pain coming from this metal. Amazingly, Michael absorbed all of it and churned through his passion for this project to create the Raise the Caliber tribute monument to the victims of illegal gun violence in America. Like no other American artist of his time, Michael Kalish is recognized for inventing an entire genre and brand out of a license plate and for creating distinctive, iconic sculptures made solely from recycled materials. Over the past 20 years, Kalish has been creating work that hangs in galleries and museums around the globe. In the private collections of world leaders, Fortune 100 companies, past presidents, professional athletes, and musicians. The art critic, Reed Busk, said it perfectly. Kalish's works are not just masterful, but hopeful. Being surrounded by them makes us feel that the best days are yet to come. There's nothing left for me to say. With Raise the Caliber, I've assembled and will continue to expand the most incredible team of people who share my belief that if you want to raise the caliber of a community, everyone must participate however they are able. I will never stop. I hope all of you are so inspired to join me. There is so much to be done. Everyone, please join me to welcome Michael Kalish.
Thank you, Jessica. Thank you so much. Whew. This is a fairly overwhelming moment for someone who does this. I dedicated myself for 10 years to doing public installations for this very reason, but this is something different. This is something very different. I wanted to speak for a second about the journey and the destination. When thinking of this piece and conceiving it over 4 years ago, it occurred to me that the destination is something that I wanted to handle secondary, but I wanted to talk about the journey. Because the journey and the reason we're here and the reason that this inspired me is for those who are most affected, those who we lost to gun violence. Those souls, those lives had no destination, so we must celebrate their journey, no matter how short they were. There was no destination of future attorneys, future artists, future chefs, and so we have to count their days and celebrate those days, no matter how short, some of which could have been counted in days right here in our backyard. How could I do something that was going to affect change? What can I do about this? I can't comment on the policies and the politics. All I can do is be creatively disruptive and bring people together. And so it started to shift for me when I received these parts, which were completely overwhelming, to a destination. The destination of thousands of pounds of illegal guns that found their way to my studio. It took me 2 weeks to be able to touch the first one. And from that point on, I realized it was about breathing new life into something that was part of something so tragic. Taking illegal guns that killed people, took them off our streets, took them out of our homes, construct them and breathe new life into them, and give them a new journey. There were so many people that made this happen. I can't thank them all. From my staff and my artists, fabricators who worked for the past year fabricating this piece and working on it, who helped come and set this piece up. Their tireless effort is just, cannot be thankful enough. The City of Hartford for unveiling this piece and setting it on its journey. The rest of the year should serve as a place where people come to enjoy this, to start conversation. And most importantly, Jessica Mindich with Jewelry for a Cause. As I was mentioning, 4 years ago, I had this idea, and as someone who makes things for a living, I couldn't figure out two things: what to make and how to get it. 2 years ago, I was introduced to Jessica and we connected, and to say she's a force is to understate it. The amount of commitment and what she's done to bring awareness to this is unprecedented, and I cannot thank her for enabling this to come together. It's the reason we're here. So sometimes in life it is about the destination, because when you get there, something new can begin. Let's unveil this piece. For the rest of the duration of the time it's here in Hartford, it's going to be roped off, but I welcome everybody to come up and touch and feel and interact with it. I think you will agree and you'll feel its power too. Thank you so much for having me, and enjoy.
I hammer in the morning. No, we're not here. I hammer in the evening. All over this land. I hammer out danger. I hammer out a I hammer out the love between my brothers and my sisters. Over this land. If I had a bell, I'd ring in the morning, I'd ring in the evening, all over this land. I ring out danger, I ring out warning, I ring out the love between my brothers and my sisters.